the day that we announced on this floor that we were referring the petition brought by distinguished Senator Yemi Adaramodi with respect to Senator Natasha's flagrant disobedience to the rules and regulations of this House, of this Senate, was referred to the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petitions. In other words, none of us was ever told about any, sexual harassment situation. While we appreciate the concern of the public on this matter, I just want to emphasize that it is important that we also seek the understanding of the general public that we were elected to serve the people. And we are guided, whatever we do in this chamber, we are guided by rules. And these our rules are also drawn pursuant to the Constitution of our country. So it's not a rule of men, it's a rule of law. It's not about some men trying to gang up against a woman or anybody. It's about ensuring that our rules are respected. That is the only way we can guarantee peace, we can guarantee law and order. That is the only way we can have an atmosphere in which we'll be able to do our job and serve the Nigerian people. Again, some of the critics have also said we have no right to even suspend a member of this parliament or this Senate. Again, I will leave that within the context of jurisprudence, as the courts will always speak to that. But it is very clear on our rules as to how far we can go. And we are not of the opinion that we are in breach of either the Constitution or any of our rules. Again, Section 60 of the Nigerian Constitution confers on this parliament the constitutional right to regulate its own procedure.
Hello. So this is the Senate Leader Michael Opeyemi Bamidele speaking on the issue of the suspension of Natasha Akpoti and the legality of it, or the true or the falsehood of it, the truth or the falsehood of it, whether or not the Senate was within its right to suspend Natasha Akpoti based on their rules. He also did made a few conversations here, statement here about whether or not, or rather that the suspension is the alternative they have to be able to restore law and order. But before I go into the meat of the matter, please, if you're meeting this content for the first time, like, share, and subscribe. If you've not subscribed yet, please do so. For so long, we've kept our mouth shut. We've not looked at the Senate. So they passed a lot of laws. But you can see this time, when Nigerians looked at them and said, what you've done is wrong, you can see how powerful we are as Nigerians if we can just bring to account our lawmakers, our politicians. And I'm telling you, what we've shown them so far with this Natasha Akpoti's situation is that the power is not theirs, it's ours. Okay? And now we're talking about the legality of the suspension. So let's get into the meat of the matter. And then also, when I get to the end of this, my deep dive into it, I'd like for you to watch the remaining part in context so that you can make your own decisions as well. So the meat of the matter here is that she is saying that the first part of the question about what they handled on the Senate floor was not about the harassment. It was about the fact that she had misbehaved on the Senate floor. So they had to suspend her. That's the first bit. And the second part he was talking about is the fact that after the suspension, Nigerians came and said to them, you don't have any right to suspend her. And the third part, which I didn't play, which you will watch towards the end of this tape, is the fact that he sort of mentioned that the International Parliamentary Union don't have a right over what happens in Nigeria. It's an individual body by all parliament around the world. They come together and they discuss. So, but in my opinion, if I take it from the last part, Natasha Akpoti went to them to say, look at what your other parliamentary members in my country are doing to me. I raised this. This man should have actually recused himself. She's a lawyer like you now. And as you very well know, many of them in this chambers are lawyers. But as you very well know, um, I raised a sexual harassment situation case, but they still went ahead and suspended me. Okay, so which we'll come back to later. But so let's get to the very, very main part of the matter, which is suspension. What Nigerians have now shown, and what especially and legal luminaries like Femi Falana has shown, has said to them, is that precedent actually shows that you cannot suspend a sitting senator. You can do other things to the sitting senator by maybe removing her from other committees for a period. But suspending a sitting senator is not constitutional. So what Mr. or Senator Michael Opeyemi, the Senate leader, as you can see, is titled by his table where he's sitting. He's saying is that in terms of the jurisprudence, in terms of the suspension, they will leave that to jurisprudence. But if we go from precedence, which is law, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just looking at what legal precedence actually shows. Okay. First of all, the last person that was suspended before Natasha Akpoti was Senator Ahmed Ningi, 2024, by this same Senator Akpabio. He was suspended for 3 months. He took the case to court. They recalled him back. And the judge decided and said this suspension was illegal. So they recalled him back and they settled the case. So Mr. or Senator Michael Opeyemi Bamidele here telling Nigerians that they will leave that to jurisprudence. There's already a legal historical record or jurisprudence to show that this suspension was illegal, which is the reason why Femi Falana said they need to recall her back immediately that it was illegal. If you're in doubt, I've already done a video of that suspension or what Femi Falana said. So you can go back to my other videos here and you can look for that that video where I read the news because it was a statement Femi Falana issued to one of the news outlets and said, this is the reason why she should have been called back. It's illegal. So, and one of the main reasons why you cannot suspend a sitting senator is that what you're doing is that you're suspending who she's representing for a 6-month period, meaning that you're saying that Kogi Central constituency that she's representing, those people don't have equal rights as other Nigerians for 6 months. That's the long and short of the explanation. Because when you suspend her, there is nobody to represent those people in the Senate for that period. And all Nigerians, by default of the Nigerian Constitution as amended, 1999 as amended, should have equal representation in the parliament. So you're telling them that, parliamentarily speaking, for 6 months that you've suspended her for, those people from Kogi Central will not have any representation. So if things of national importance are actually discussed right now, they will not have, and as it's been discussed so far, they do not have any representation in the Senate. That is why the Nigerian Constitution does not allow that. Now, he's saying, what he said here, Mr. Bamidele has said here is that their rules and guidelines are guided by the Constitution. When your guidelines actually is in breach of the Constitution, even though the Constitution gives you the right to regulate your procedures, it does not give you the right to suspend a sitting senator. There's nowhere in the Senate in the Constitution where it says explicitly you can suspend a sitting senator. So that is why when Nigerians said to them that this injustice is wrong, it is wrong on all facets that you can think about it. Yes, you might not like her disobedience to the way she's conducted herself on the Senate floor, but what does the Constitution say? For so long, we've had strong men and strong Nigerians for so long. And what they have done so far for so long is that when you speak up, they hammer you. And that's why they came down with that. You cannot tell a sitting senator that you did not vote for to say she cannot refer herself to a senator for 6 months inside the country, outside of her country. You take security, now she's now exposed. That's why Senator Ahmed Lawad at the time was saying to them, you're setting a dangerous precedence. Because what you've done is that you've now made her a target. Until she's no more a senator, then you can take that. But as long as she's a senator, elected by people, constitutionally elected by our people, then you don't have any right to suspend her because you didn't elect her. So that is why this is constitutionally wrong. Now, don't say I'm a pro Natasha or not. For me, it's about what is right about for Nigeria and what is wrong for Nigeria. And what has been wrong for Nigeria for so long is that a few people have actually taken Nigeria into their hands and decided what will happen in Nigeria, like it had did in 2023, where a few people decided that Nigerians cannot vote for who they want as president. They're going to rig the elections, and they will then use the court to justify that. And then that's what really happened. You remember when Akpabio called Natasha court-appointed senators. It was because of these improprieties, this rigging, this constitutional rigging that happens in Nigeria, where they rig the elections and use the constitution of the judiciary to now implement their rigging and justify that. You can see exactly what is happening in Edo State as well, and the kind of chaos it creates. So I played this first bit for you so that you can hear what he has said. And that from what he's saying as the Senate leader, they are now leaving the case for the court to decide. And in previous cases, the last one before Natasha, that this same Senate President Godswill Akpabio suspended was Senator Ahmed Ningi. The same man, Ahmed Ningi, was the one that blew the whistle and said that the 2024 budget was padded. And when he said that, Akpabio punished him by suspending him, and then he took the case to court. And what happened? They recalled him back. So at every given time where people run, against what this Senate leadership thinks, they suspend them just to quiet them for the. And I'm assuming that they understand that this step was wrong, but they needed to quieten Natasha Akpoti for a period, just so that the news can pass away. And because Nigerians are not keeping quiet, that's why they're still talking about it. And that's why we're still talking about it. And that's why we must not keep quiet. So my point of emphasis here is this. To all Nigerians, whether or not you like it, whether or not you're happy about the situation, whether or not you think what they did is right. The thing is this, right? Injustice in one angle is always injustice in all angles. So injustice to one person is always injustice to all of us. Listen, Boti and Akpabio are friends. We know for certain that they've said it. They confess with their own mouth that Natasha Akpoti's husband is a good friend of Akpabio. So that's a fact. So we're not going into their friendship. They know, and so funny thing is that don't be shocked when they settle this thing out of public view. Don't be shocked. And we will be disappointed if Natasha comes out and apologizes to Akpabio. We will be very, very disappointed. But again, we will not be shocked because they're friends. So taking sides for with Natasha against Akpabio, for me, is not I'm not doing that. What we're talking about is that the corruption of our system is what is leading to this. If you check most other democracies, they punish parliamentarians by taking them out of their committees and all of that. You cannot suspend them. You don't have that right. It's like saying in the American Senate that the leader of the Senate can suspend somebody whom they've not voted for. That's an illegality. Sorry. It's a mouthful for now. You cannot suspend somebody that's representing the people. Is actually wrong on all facets. So that's where we are coming from. That's why we are shouting against them and saying, no, you cannot. So that's why Mr. Michael Opeyemi Bamidele here, the senator, the Senate leader here cannot say clearly by fact, as the Constitution says, that they can suspend their own senator. It can only refer to their rule book that gives them guidelines and say, based on the guidelines that the rules give them, they have the right to regulate what happens, but they don't have a right. The rules does not even say you have a right to suspend anybody. You make that rule up and then now want to suspend someone. You then want to use the Constitution to back your rule, where the Constitution does not clearly say that. And you know the thing I really like about this is this. We are now telling them, we've now turned our attention to the Senate, to our parliament, to our National Assembly, to say now we're putting our eyes on you guys. Because before, Nigerians never really cared. They make these laws, they tell us, we look the news and we say we're okay with it. But right now, we're not telling them we're looking at you too. The way we're looking at the presidency, we're looking at the judiciary, we're now looking at you, the other arm of government. We're looking at the executive as well. On all facets, the president, the governor, the chairman, the police, everybody that is part of government. You're public servants, for God's sake. So you cannot tell us that people from Kogi Central won't have any representation for 6 Senate months, which could be up to 9 months. That's what you're telling us. That's what you're telling the people from Kogi Central, that, listen, number one, you're not equal to other Nigerians. So when we're making decisions for 6 months, we will not take you into consideration, because the person that knows you, that should be speaking on your behalf, we've taken that person out of the way. So like I said before, if you're meeting this content for the first time, please like, share, subscribe. We need your subscription. We need you to share this and put your comments as well. Keep your comments coming. What do you think of this comment made by this Senate leader, Michael Bamidele Opeyemi? What do you think about what he said? Do you agree that Natasha deserves to be suspended? But also, whether or not you agree with it, do you think it's within the Senate right, constitutionally, to suspend them? Suspend her. Let's have this conversation in the chat section, in the comment section. Let's have this conversation. But also, you need to lend your voice to make sure we fight against this corruption that is killing our nation. None of us is safe. This corruption to one person is corruption to all of us. Nobody is safe. If you think it's enough, it's true or it's a lie, look at yourself and ask yourself this question: can you travel from where you are right now to the other part of Nigeria and be safe? If any one of these senators or lawmakers or the people in the executive and the presidency can guarantee your safety, they need escorts to go around. They need securities to go around, but you and I don't have it. That's why we must work hard to fix our country and make it work. Thank you. And then please watch the other part of this and watch it in context. And then, so you can give you a full context of what he said, so that you can also make up your mind too. Thank you.